I am Master Sergeant Chuck Marsh with the Norad and U.S. Northcom Public Affairs Office, and I'm honored to be here today with the 3rd Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Sergeant Major John Wayne Troxell. Thank you, Sergeant Major, for being here.
Thanks for having me, Master Sergeant. It's truly an honor for me to be here today.
Excellent. So, SEAC, we're standing here in one of the Cold War icons, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex. So you were able to get a short briefing of the NORAD and U.S. Northcom mission set, as well as a tour of the complex here and the alternate command center. Can you give your thoughts on the importance of the national defense mission of NORAD and Northcom?
It's extremely huge. When you look at our ability to defend our own homeland and our borders, especially in terms of ballistic missiles and everything, the mission here of NORAD and Northcom and what we do up here at Cheyenne is absolutely critical to making sure that we're defending ourselves from any kind of threats, especially in the ballistic missile department.
All right, Sergeant Major, so the NORAD is the only binational command that we have. Can you give your thoughts on our folks working side by side in a sort of coalition at home?
Yeah, it's extremely important. One of our 3 national military objectives is to develop our relationships with our global partners and allies. And what better way to do that than to start at home in this binational agreement and relationship here at NORAD with the United States and Canadians. And this is an example for how we should be operating globally as we continue to strengthen our global alliances.
So, as the SEAC, you've had a chance to travel around to different military installations. Can you give your thoughts on the quality of the enlisted force, not just what you've seen here today, but just the enlisted force overall?
The quality of our enlisted force is our greatest advantage over our allies. We have great partners and we have great alliances out there, but no one in the world trains, educates, provides opportunities, and empowers non-commissioned officers, enlisted leaders, non-commissioned officers and petty officers like we do. In terms of allowing them to execute discipline initiative within commander's intent to accomplish missions, regardless of the environment they're in, is what sets us apart from any other. And as we continue to strengthen the depth of our non-commissioned officers' responsibilities, we will continue to get better in the future.
Speaking of the future, can you give your thoughts on the future force that we have, especially in today's fiscal constraints?
Yes. Well, we are going to continue to develop our force. The key to us having credible readiness and being on the cutting edge of excellence in everything we do and being able to not only defeat the threats to our nation, but also deter and deny them is through building for the future. And that means having modernization programs that leverage the cutting edge of technology to allow us to have that credible readiness that is required, even in a resource-constrained environment, so that we can continue to defend the homeland abroad and here at home.
Now, SEAC, in your travels to different bases and different services, is there one topic that seems to pop up at all of those different locations, no matter what the service, that's weighing on your mind? And if so, what would that be?
One thing is that the men and women that serve in the military today, especially our non-commissioned officers and petty officers, are continually looking for challenges. And the thing that I get hit up about all the time is the ability to gain joint education. So one of the things I've taken on is to develop a joint enlisted leader development continuum that allows for an enlisted leader to develop in the joint world as well as they do in their parent service world. This model isn't designed to replace the service models, but it's designed to complement what the services are doing. So I'm further developing non-commissioned officers and petty officers, both in their own service department and in a joint department, so that they're better prepared for the complexities and the unknowns of the future.
SEAC, on your Facebook page, you have recently released a list of chairman-approved enlisted desired traits. Now, this is anything from being able to know the commander's intent to working in a multinational environment. Is this a basis that you see for all NCOs, not just to perform, but to also teach their juniors?
Absolutely. Wherever I go, and whenever I'm in a town hall setting, whether it's on an aircraft carrier with 800 sailors, or whether it's on shore speaking to 500 Marines or airmen or soldiers, all the time I present them with these 6 enlisted desired leader attributes. And these attributes, which include executing discipline initiative within commander's intent, making sound and timely decisions in accordance with the profession of arms, being able to use all available resources to enable the health of the force, operate in a joint interagency, intergovernmental, and multinational environment, being able to anticipate, communicate, and mitigate risks, and finally to be able to think creatively and to be able to apply agile and adaptive thinking and decision making. I think all of these 6 traits are something that is not only we think is right for all non-commissioned officers and petty officers to execute, but we think it's crucial for them to be able to execute to above standard in order to be effective in any kind of setting in the future. So I think all non-commissioned officers and petty officers ought to embody those 6 traits, but more importantly, they ought to be passing those traits on to their subordinates who will one day replace them as a future non-commissioned officer and petty officer.
So SEAC, it's been a pleasure having you here, but there's just one more question,
Yep.
and that is there anything that you'd like to add, you'd like for our audience that is going to see this to know?
Well, we have some challenges ahead of us in terms of not only state adversaries, but violent extremist organizations across the world that would like to do harm to the United States and our allies, and also potentially operating in a further fiscally constrained environment. But I'm confident that we're going to be okay. And the reason I'm confident we're going to be okay is because of the men and women that serve every day. And as I said before, what we do to train, educate, the opportunities we provide, and the empowerment we give to our enlisted leadership, we are going to continue to be the dominant power in the world that everyone is looking to help them to defend their borders, and as well as help them to further develop their militaries. So to the men and women of the United States military out there, be proud of who you are, because the entire world is proud of you.